Are you ready to go? Okay. My name's Laurence and your name is?
Gerald.
Gerald?
Gooch.
Gooch.
Yes.
And this is your lovely wife.
It is.
My name's Laurence.
And my name's Margaret Gooch.
Margaret Gooch. Gerald and Margaret. Brilliant.
Right.
Thank you. It's very nice to meet you. You probably know, you've seen the heads in the French Gate Shopping Centre.
We did.
And the exhibition, the proposal of this sculpture we're making. And basically, I'm doing a load of heads of miners or ex-miners, well obviously ex now, and they're going to be eventually assembled in this big sculpture in the High Street.
Yes.
And you have been chosen because your wonderful face was photographed. And we look, that's got sculptural potential. And you had a very bright shirt on as well.
We're always in trouble.
So we've got 2 hours. I'm going to try and capture you in 2 hours. It's not
Yes.
easy. It's a difficult job. And in that time, hopefully, we'd have got to know you, and this head will evolve at the same time. So, please don't be put off if I'm not quite looking in your eyes when you're talking.
Yes, you're
It's not because I'm
right.
not interested, it's just because I'm trying to do your chin.
Yeah.
And I might be looking in your ear or the back of your head. That doesn't mean you've got to stop talking.
Yeah.
But don't follow me round.
Yes,
So
I've
if I'm
been
doing
told.
that, yeah, don't
Yeah.
go like crane your neck.
Don't go where you're going.
Exactly, yeah. Don't do any of that. Okay?
Right, you are.
So we'll begin. So Gerald, you were just telling me earlier that your family come from Suffolk, which is where I come from.
Yes.
So how does that work?
Well, there were farmers down in
Farmers?
Suffolk.
Oh really?
My great-grandfather was a farm manager.
Really?
And then I believe his son moved to London and became a policeman.
Good Lord.
And
What dates are we talking?
1840s for great-grandfather. Yeah.
Gosh.
My great-grandfather came to London 1880-ish.
Gosh.
And then I presume later on he became a village policeman and
Right.
moved out of London.
Okay.
And that's how my family ended up at Great Dunmow,
Ah. And this is paternal or maternal?
paternal.
Okay.
And he was my granddad was a gentleman's gentleman.
What does that mean?
He dressed him,
Oh,
you know.
really?
He looked after the gentleman. He did whatever.
And this is in Great Dunmow?
No, in London at that time.
Okay. And who was the gentleman?
I'm still trying to find that out.
So you're obviously doing family research.
Done a bit of it.
Yeah.
And it was, what we can work out is his gentleman went to war in 1914 and my granddad went with him
Blimey, right.
as his butler come whatever you know, Batman.
Yeah.
And he did 4 years there, and I think when he came home he decided I'm not going in butlering again, you know.
Yeah.
And he worked for Dunmow Council.
Right.
He got married. And that was as far as I know with that. And
So
then
you
my
don't know
dad-
what he did for the council?
He was a joiner.
A joiner. So
Yeah.
he was a man's servant, and he obviously acquired skills whilst
Yes.
doing that.
And later on in life he became a carpenter.
Wow. That was quite a shift.
Yes.
Was there great respect? Did he have great respect? I mean, being a gentleman's gentleman, did that engender respect, or was it?
Yes, he'd got the full uniform
Wow.
kind of thing, you know.
Blimey, right. Have you got photographs of it?
I've got one of him as a young man.
Gosh. I
Because-
suppose, but the minute you find out who the gentleman was, you should
Well,
probably get loads of photographs of him behind him.
yeah, what we're trying to think of is when he went in the war later on, after the war, the depression come, didn't it?
Yeah.
My dad couldn't get work, my father, and we think my granddad had a word with his gentleman because we think he became the colonel of the regiment,
Right.
the Middlesex Regiment. So we think granddad had a word with him, and he came home and said to me, Dad, I've got a job for you, and there's a soap with it. And this was 1938 roughly. And my dad thought, oh, after 2 years in army, you know, now it is it. And then, of course, poor old Adolf decided we'll have a bit longer. So he ended up doing till 1945.
Really? And did he see action and all that sort of thing?
No, he ended up being a cook.
Really?
Yes. He was classed as not quite grade 1 because he got TB. So, you know, he ended up married my mother, met her down south. He after war married her in 1947, I believe. And then they came up here for an holiday and my dad never went back.
Really? So they came to Doncaster?
Yeah, because my mother was from Doncaster.
Oh, okay. So he met your mother, who was a Yorkshire lass.
Met her in Coventry.
Right. So he was sent to Coventry all the way through as well.
Yes. What happened was my mum worked up this road at Pilkington's Glassworks, making bullets.
Who was your...
My mother.
Yeah.
And according to form, this captain from Home Office or wherever the War Office came along and says, I want 20 of you for down south. And he just said, you, Monday, you're catching a train. And my mother ended up down Coventry and met my father.
Good Lord. And this is 40...
It'd be 43. And then my dad ended up in Scotland.
Oh God! How did that work out?
Well, he trained as a cook.
Yeah.
And you know, you get posted wherever, and they sent him up there.
Working for who? For
Well,
the army.
Yes.
Right, so you stayed in the army
Yes.
after the war.
And as far as we can work out, he was up top end of Scotland. He said it was somewhere called Poole or something, but we can never find it.
Right.
But there's a lot of silly little names.
Yeah.
And the only thing we can think of that was up there at that time was the Royal Marine Commandos being trained.
Right.
So whether he cooked for them. And then, like I say, he came up here with my mother. My mother didn't want to go back down south because she didn't like them.
Didn't like them?
Yes. She
The
said,
people?
Yes. She
Why?
said they wouldn't...
Unsocial.
unsocial, yes.
Interesting,
Yeah. Different way of lives.
isn't it? Yeah,
You know, so she... they stopped up here and my dad got a job down the mines.
yeah. Right.
And he was classed as A1 fit.
So he wasn't fit enough for
And
the army.
he'd got TB, which we didn't find out till after he died.
Did he keep having TB or did he have a scar on his lung type thing from it?
Scars.
Scars.
Yeah.
And you didn't know he'd ever had it?
No.
Did he cough a lot as a...
No. Which was surprising. But
So to all
when
intents and purposes he recovered very well then, really?
well, so. He helped to build the new pit bottom in Yorkshire, Maine.
So
Because he was a bricklayer.
right,
by
so can
trade.
we explain this? Because I'm always interested in this. A pit bottom is... What is a pit bottom?
Well, you've got your pit top. That's where they sort the coal out.
Yeah.
You know, they send it here, there and everywhere. Plus they, it's where you get bathed, get your checks, get your lamps.
Yeah.
You go down the shaft, in cage, as
Yeah.
we used to call it. You get to the bottom and that's the pit bottom. Well, the new pit bottom in ours was totally brick and it was a yard thick,
So this is
30 foot high.
So you're basically making a giant room underground,
Yes,
and you've got to brick it all out,
yeah.
waterproof it. It's like building a cellar.
Yes,
Building a
yes,
cellar
bu-
underground.
built in a cellar, yes.
And this is the entrance to all the shafts. So
No, you've got the one
offices-
shaft up.
one
Well, you've
shaft
got
up
two
and you've got-
shafts,
Yeah.
one up, one down.
Yeah,
One where your air comes down
yeah,
and one where your air goes up.
yeah,
That's to create the flow.
yeah.
So there's roughly, I'd say 60, 70 yards between the two shafts.
Right.
So all that is bricked.
Okay.
And then the coal round it is not touched for a quarter of a mile. Round the shafts. They leave that as what they call a pillar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's
That's
to-
solid, as it
That's
were.
to help protect the shafts.
Right.
Then they send roadways out.
Yes.
Well, I presume you've been on underground in London. So you
Oh,
know
yeah.
how the tunnels,
Yes.
you've got your station and then your tunnel goes out
Yes.
either way.
Yes.
That's how it would work
Right.
from the pit bottom.
Okay.
So the tunnels went out, and then after whatever yardage they'd gone, say 200-300 yards, then they'd start excavating the coal and start looking for the coal.
Yep.
You know, once they found the coal, there were different ways of getting it out.
So it wasn't like there were seams. So they're like when you say finding the coal, you've got loads of rock basically, and
Yeah.
in that rock,
You've got a seam of coal.
seams are flat
Yes.
bands that could be a foot high, 2 foot high.
I worked on
And-
one 2'6".
Wow. And that
That was
Right.
Dunsall.
Dunsall.
Yeah. Worked on Barnsley, which was roughly 6 foot, and worked on what they called Swallowwood, which was roughly 5 foot.
So Dunsall was the worst one, or did you really enjoy it for some reason?
No, that was a horrible one.
So you're lying down.
Well, you couldn't, you were walking like a mouse on your hands and knees. And, you know, it was terrible.
How long did you last there?
We were only on that a few months, and then they closed the Dunsall seam down.
I mean, is a small scene like that profitable? I mean, is it difficult?
Well, what they used to do with Barnsley seam and Dunsall seam, they used to mix it. Dunsall seam is full of a lot of stone.
Right, so it's not only hard to get, but it's full of stone as
Yeah,
well.
where Barnsley seam was all coal. That was steam coal for your ships
Oh,
and your
okay.
trains.
Right.
That's what they used that
So
for.
is that top quality?
That was the top quality
Full
coal
of-
of the country.
Full of energy?
Yes. So the Dunsall, they'd mix it when they were selling it at power stations
Right.
because Barnsley coal were too rich.
Wow. God.
You know, they wouldn't take it, it was too rich. So they'd mix it up with Barnsley, with Dunsall Barnsley, send it to power stations. They burnt it then, stone as well, you know. 'cause-
Really? Just burnt the stone?
Yeah, well it's that hot, isn't it?
God.
And you know, when I was a young lad, and I went to Old College, technical college over at
Okay.
Road where St George's Church is.
Yeah.
They used to deliver the coal to the River Don at that time,
Wow.
and the wharf was there. And you'd see lorries after lorries coming, tipping the coal onto the barges, and the barges going through to power station.
Gosh. And where was the power station?
Well, there were Drax, Eggborough, forget all there were 4, and I forget all the 2 now. And they used to take it there and use it. But you know, we worked at Pitt, and you know, it was a good job,
Yeah, so let's just go back to the beginning again. So your parents have settled in Doncaster,
yes.
and then they are living where?
First off, they lived with me grandma and granddad,
So that's
That
your
was
mother's mum
my
and
mother's
dad.
mum and dad. That was down Markham Road
Markham
in
Road.
Edlington.
Okay.
Then they eventually got an house in Tate Avenue, Edlington. And when they moved in, it still had the old oil lamps. There was no gas, no electric. They'd got water, toilet was in the backyard like they used to be, and they'd got oil lamps. They lived there, let me see,
This is your parents.
my parents for 5 years, maybe a little longer.
And all that time, are they waiting for another house, or are they happy and thinking
They was
this
quite happy there. It was a nice little street at that time.
is it? Yeah. And are they all mining folk?
Majority. There were 1 or 2 that were worked in different things, but majority were miners.
Okay.
One of them went into council. You know, started as a what they call it, and ended up in council.
One of the neighbours, you mean?
Yes, that was David Glover. He went well up into council.
Okay.
You know, him and my dad were friends.
Does that mean he was a political man?
Yes, very political. Well, his son ended up being head of Doncaster Council, Malcolm. You know, they were quite, like I say, it was a small knit street, and it was lovely. And it
Do you remember it?
Yes.
Were you there?
Oh yes, I can remember up to a certain time.
How many of you were there? How many brothers and sisters? How many?
I've got one brother,
Right.
and we don't get on,
Okay.
unfortunately, but
Is he older or younger?
he's older than me 4 years.
Difficult. I can't say that. My kids are 4 years apart.
Are they?
Yeah,
Shouldn't say that on camera. They get on very well.
yeah. We did for a good bit, and then when my dad died, things soured.
Right. Yeah. That's a common story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad died suddenly.
Right.
He suffered a long time.
This is the TB, I presume. or-
No, he got 100% pneumonicosis.
That's
Dust.
from the mine.
Dust on your lungs, yeah.
Wow.
And he couldn't breathe.
100%. What do you mean by 100%? Is it
Is-
marked? Is it graded?
Yes, it goes up from 10%. You have to have 10% to be paid.
Ah,
And when they gave it to me father, it took him years to get it. And he got this 10% and 20% emphysema.
So you had emphysema as well?
Yes, but when he died, thank you.
Thank you very much.
When he died, they opened him up like, and it was 100% pneumonicosis.
So does that mean his lung is completely full of dust?
Yes. He was on oxygen.
You were on oxygen,
They
weren't
were in hospital at least once every couple of months for them to try and clean him out. And the last time we took him in, he said to me, "I'm dying." And we always said to him, "Don't be silly," which you do, you know, because he'd been poorly for that long. You're not going to bloody die.
No.
We took him to hospital, and he said to doctor, "I want to go to the toilet." And lo and behold, he died on toilet.
Yeah.
And me and my mum were with him. Well, we were sat just outside while they were on toilet.
Jesus. 100%.
Yeah. But this country being this country, this is a bit of political, they took 30% off him for having TB when he was a kiddie. You know. So,
So having one illness disqualified him from getting the benefit for the other.
yes. But luckily my mum got a lump sum.
Right. Well, as a deaf, what do you call it?
Yeah, for him having it for so long.
How long did he have it for?
Well, he started in 1947
What the payments?
in the pits, no,
Oh, I
and
see.
I'm trying to work out. He finished in 1970, roughly down pit. He was 60-year-old, and it took him about 4 years to get it, 4 or 5 years to get it. So he'd be 65 when he got this 10%. And then he lived to, what were he, Margaret, can you remember?
What, your dad?
Yeah, 74.
When he died?
About 74, wasn't he, when he
I
died?
thought you were only, I thought you were about 65.
No, I think around 21 to 89.
21 to 89.
Yeah.
60.
8.
68.
Yeah, he was 68 when he died. So he only got the money for like 2 years.
Good God. How do you survive without the money?
Very hard.
You have to?
Well, as it happened, one of my aunties worked for the DSS at that time and got my mother a job cleaning, which helped a little, but you know, he struggled.
So all that time, what is he doing while he's ill? What is he?
He had a garden, which I used to go and dig for him, and he'd do his bit of planting and things like that. He could potter about for 2 or 3 years, till it got too bad, and then he just sat on his backside and waited to...
He couldn't walk very far though, could he?
No. If he
He were
walked to
in a
that door,
wheelchair.
he was ready for sitting down.
And what is the cause of the
Breathing dust,
breathing?
the fine dust,
fine
coal
dust?
dust and stone dust.
So in a funny sort of way, it's impossible to avoid that.
Well, they used to give you masks in end, but they used to make your face that sore.
Oh, right.
You'd take them off. You know, I started wearing one, but it made you that sore. You thought, I'd rather breathe the coal dust and hope you don't get it.
You were fully aware of the consequences. I mean, you knew about this disease.
Yes.
You knew that it was.
Yes.
It wasn't like, oh Christ, we weren't told about it, and
Oh no.
now we're all suffering.
Well, we'd seen the old miners, haven't we?
I mean, the old miners then basically must have just guaranteed to get it.
Yeah. Well, I think actually, no, they were better off than we were, because they worked on what they call stalls. That's where you leave a pillar of coal in, and you take, say, 6 foot, 8 foot, and then you leave another pillar of coal in, and you move forward, and you're digging it out with an hand pick and shoveling it into a mine car or tub at that time. So there wasn't as much dust.
Because of that, because of just like the big drill at the pit head, or whatever, the pit face.
Yeah.
It's just grinding,
You've
grinding,
got a
grinding.
cutting machine, yes.
Yeah, cutting.
And there were never enough water on it
Yeah.
to keep the dust down. And I mean, one of the jobs I did was working on what they call ripping.
Yeah.
And that's what my dad did a lot of.
Yeah.
And that's where you're advancing in front of the coal face. You've got like a big wall. You've got the 6 foot of coal, and then above it you've got 8 foot of stone.
Yeah.
So you have to bore holes into it, fill it full of gunpowder,
Yeah.
blow it out, and then you had to go and shift it. First off, when I started, with shovel.
Yeah.
As we got advanced, we ended up with what they call a bucket to shift it, an excavator.
Yeah.
But when we went back onto contract, because when I first started the pit, we were on contract, and then we went on to what they call day wage. You'd get paid whether you did anything or nothing.
Okay, so first of all, it was like
You got
You
paid for what you did.
piecework, really.
Yes. Well, when we went back onto it, when you bored and fired, and you blew this yard of stone out and coal, you'd run into the dust because you were getting paid for what you did.
So you just get straight back in and get on
So you got straight back in and got on with the job.
without a mask.
Yeah. I mean, you'd put the water on as soon as you got in to wet it down, but by then
Yeah.
you'd been breathing it in.
So you've got an explosion, bang,
Yeah.
you wait for all the noise to stop, and then you're scrambling through, basically digging from the outside to get to the wall that was solid
Yeah.
again. And you're filling tubs behind you.
Well, no, you put it onto what
On
they
the
call a
conveyor.
conveyor, yeah. But then you've got to set your support, your ring, and then
Yeah.
if you've got time, you start again for the next shift to give them an advance
Yeah,
because you're getting paid for what you do.
yeah. So, when you say you get paid for it, you get paid for the advance.
Yeah,
Do you get paid, I know you get paid by the amount of conveying you get, the yardage,
yeah,
but do you actually get paid for building the ring?
Yes.
And paid for making the advance as well?
Yeah.
So they actually give you a fee,
yeah,
which is like, if you get an advance made, you get 20 quid.
yeah,
You get a ring put in, you get 30 quid,
yeah,
and you get a fiver a bucket type thing.
yeah,
And you're just, in your head all day long, you're going, it's tenner, fiver,
tenner, yeah,
Lunchtime, oh, down 10 quid on yesterday.
yeah,
Go on,
Carry
hell,
on.
she'll kill me at home. What have I done? This is ridiculous.
yeah,
That sort of thing. It's that kind of tension.
yes.
That kind of thinking all the time about the money and about the wage and about...
I mean, I've got some of my dad's old contract sheets,
yeah,
and it tells you there, you get paid for setting a third of a girder. Now a girder's 8 foot, 10 foot long, 8x6. How can you set a third of that? But the way it worked out was, you see, there'd be 3 men in team, so he paid you a third, me a third, and wife a third.
Right.
Because it were easy. They won't give you the full money.
Right. So, how did you get down? So your dad was in there, working.
Yeah.
How did you start?
Left school on Friday,
Right.
down at pit at Friday dinner time,
Really?
start work Monday morning.
You're joking.
No.
And what were you doing?
Well, first off, you went to Markham Main Colliery and you did your basic training.
Yeah.
How to pick things up, how to look after yourself, how to be safe. You did 14 days there, and then you come back to your own pit. Then you work on pit top, which I had 2 or 3 jobs. I worked up to material yard for a few weeks. Then I went into showers, cleaning that.
Yeah.
Then I went into lamp room and learned how to look after lamps.
Oh, really? Maintenance of lamps.
Yes.
Is
And
that a complicated job?
Not really, but you know how to strip them down now.
Yeah, and clean them and
Yeah. You know,
set the wicks,
yeah, you
length of the wicks.
yeah, everything like that. Look after canaries. You know.
You're a classic miner.
uh,
God. Are you before a time of ponies or after?
I was after.
After.
Only
Not
just.
that old.
Only just though. They used to have ponies in Ponyfield when we used to walk down to pit.
We've had a couple of guys who, you know, were teenagers or whatever with a pony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some got rid of them later than others.
Yeah.
You see, we went to New Pit Bottom in 1951, I believe it was. So then it were all mechanised.
Right.
The pit ponies were down in Old Bottom,
Yeah.
which I did work in at one bit. But then I got to 16, time
Yeah.
to go down pit.
Wow.
I went down pit. They put me on number 1 shaft side, coupling mine cars up, and I had an accident
Oh, God.
when I was supposed to be under supervision.
Right.
I trapped my hand. I had, I think, 8 stitches in my hand
Trapped it in what did you trap it in?
between 2 mine cars.
Oh,
The,
God.
the thing had failed and they come together and nipped your hand.
Jesus.
So went and had my hand stitched. And that's when they used to have the old pit doctor.
Right.
So I'd gone and had it stitched. At hospital they said 14 days for stitches to come out, because they're all up my fingers. I had to see pit doctor at pit. I went in, my dad was with me, and the pit doctor said a week off work. My dad said, doctor says 14 days for him to come out. He says, you got another hand?
Oh, God.
So I had to go to work with this hand wrapped up, and this hand I couldn't do anything with because I'm right-handed.
Yeah.
So I spent a week just sat in pit bottom.
Jesus.
You know, after that I had about 10 months, 12 months in pit bottom, which I enjoyed in summer, but winter was bitter cold.
So you actually felt the temperature of the outside down there?
Oh yes.
Right. So it wasn't like it's closed environment, closed climate.
In summer you could be in shorts, in
Right.
pit bottom. In winter you wanted winter coats on, what they call it, long johns underneath and
Yeah.
everything. You even wrapped newspaper around your legs because it
God.
was that cold.
Really?
Yes. And you used to cry with your hands
Oh,
because you had to uncouple mine cars with no gloves on.
God. What do you reckon the temperatures were?
Below freezing
Really?
in winter. Summer, like I say, were like a summer's day.
Mm.
You could always tell when the sun was shining when you were down pit.
Could you?
Yeah.
Is that because the heat from is being sucked down by the draft pits?
Yes. Number 1 sucked it down, number 2 sucked it up.
And did it become unbearable in the heat?
No, not in pit bottom, on coal face, yes.
Yeah,
There was one coal face I worked on, they had a freezer,
A freezer?
yes. A 30-foot long freezer. But in the mistake, they put it in the wrong gate. You had 2 gates down, walkways down to the coal face. And they put it in the return gate instead of putting it into the in-by gate.
Right, so the air was sucked out by the coal air
Yes.
was sucked out before it went through the mine.
Yes,
Oh, that's great.
that was
Even I could work that out.
that was typical management thinking. You know, they get paid a lot for thinking things like that.
God's sake, you're weapons.
But yeah,
I'll
after
give you a minute.
after being at pit bottom, I went into what they call rope gang.
Rope gang? Sounds like
Yeah.
a prison.
It could have
Chain
been.
gang.
Yeah, it could have been.
God. So what's that, pulling things?
No, we repaired the ropes and
Oh,
extended
right.
the ropes.
I imagine a load of guys pulling up blooming trucks.
No, no, no.
We live a different kind of life if we're, young man.
Yeah,
But I was what you called an oiler at that time when I first went in, which meant you went round and you oiled the return wheels where the rope went round, and because it will continuous loop. And you'd grease them up. But as I got into it, gang, they taught me how to splice a rope,
Right.
and I got a bit more things to do kind of thing.
Your skill set
Yeah,
grew.
yes.
Expand.
You know, if they wanted to know how far rope wanted extending, they'd ask me to go down onto district, measure it out, come back and tell them they'd want, say, 210 yards.
Yeah.
They'd get the 210 yards, cut it up. I'd make sure it got down to the job. And then we'd go down and there'd be a team of 4 of us, say, and we'd splice rope.
That's a nice.
Take return wheel
Is
in.
that a nice skill to have?
Yes, it's not bad.
That's one of those lovely kind of skills, isn't it? That kind of.
Yeah, it's like you've got your fingers like that, and you take each one out like that, so it goes like that. It goes in.
Yeah.
So when you've done it, you like tie it together again. So if you've got 6 strands of rope, you take 3 out of each side, so that when you put it
Okay.
together, you've still got 6 strands.
All right.
And then after that, I went into belt gang just before I went up coalface.
And that's maintaining the belts on the conveyors.
Yes. I only had about 6 months on that, but you learn the basics.
Yeah.
You know, how to make it so you keep the tension on the belt, so you can throw some slack to cut it, to put the new hinges on and things like that, how to extend the belts and what have you. And then I got a letter, got to go for my coalface training.
Did you want that?
Yes, well, that's where the money is.
Were you? Just to go back to the beginning. Sorry. Were you very excited about going down the mine? Was it the job you wanted to do, or did you not have any choice?
I don't think I was bothered one way or other.
It's just what was available.
Yes, I mean at one time I was thinking of army, but
And was your was your dad happy you were going down the mine?
I think he was more happier they were going down the mine than going in the army,
God, yeah.
because Northern Ireland had kicked off
Oh, right.
at that time, you know, so, and I had 2 friends that did go
Right.
to Northern Ireland, well in army, they both went to Northern Ireland, and one come back alright and other one come back totally out of his head.
What do you mean by that?
Well, he come back an alcoholic, and he said it was the most terriblest place you could ever imagine. The other lad, who I knew, he come out, he was a sniper in the regiment. And he said, believe it or not, he says, I'm the sniper and I'm the only one that wasn't allowed a bullet. He says, all the other men were there to protect me. He says, and if I had to kill somebody, I had to have the officer's permission. You know, he'd got his magazine in, but he never had a bullet in what they call spout, you know, in chamber.
The barrel, whatever.
Yeah, he always had to say, sir, so-and-so, and he'd say, yeah, shoot him. You know.
So he did do that?
I don't think he ever killed anybody, but like he says, his mate who was just the protection team, it got him. And they were ashamed because they were both nice lads. You know. One come back, I've just watched the programme, and like he says, this bloke said he'd come back a different person to what he went. And the other one come back an alcoholic and out of his head kind of thing. Never messed about with drugs, but just an alcoholic, and he did his completely.
Did they talk about it, or was that a no-go subject?
No. John did, who was the alcoholic. Yeah. Once he'd had one or two, he'd let you know little things, you know. Like I said, he just want a nice thing for him. You know, they all thought because the dads had been in army, in war, it's the thing to do.
And I suppose there wasn't many options in career-wise.
No.
Or was there?
No, we had at pit, railways, steelworks, council, you know.
Yeah.
Plant that used to be up the road here, that they flattened, ICI that they flattened.
Yeah. So your dad was happier that you were going down the mine and going in the army?
I don't think he wanted us to go down mine. My brother had gone down, but he left.
Right.
He went lorry driving.
Okay.
And then he became a mechanic. Then he went working for Blue Circle Cements at Ferriby. He moved over that way. And then I'd gone down the pit. I'd become an apprentice, mining apprentice, so that meant I had to go up coal face.
Yeah.
You know, and I enjoyed it. I'll be honest, I really enjoyed working on coal face.
Yeah.
You'd got good comradeship. You had your fallouts,
Yeah.
which
But-
everybody does.
And it all stayed down underground?
Oh yeah, yeah. Once you got out, that were it. You were
Yeah.
done with.
No one took the grudges up above ground?
No. But you know, I mean, my granddad had been a miner.
Your granddad was a miner?
Yes.
So you know your dad was?
Yeah, well, my granddad, not my granddad from down south, my granddad from
Your mum's?
my mum's dad. He was born in Durham,
Right.
so we presume he were in mines down there. He went to Wales, he worked in Welsh pits, he didn't like them.
Really? What was that? Culture?
I don't know, because my granddad died before I was born. And him and a bloke called Di Owens walked
Right.
all the way from Wales
Joke.
to Doncaster to get set on a pit in Doncaster, and he got set on at Yorkshire Main. Both him and Di Owens.
Di Owens.
Yeah, good Welsh name.
Brilliant.
A lovely old man when I met him.
Yeah.
But according to form, they were both two fiery little
Oh, really?
darlings, yes. My granddad had been in First World War and got wounded. So he come home crackers,
Really?
yes. But he was an educated man.
Right.
But he was educated that you couldn't, at that time, you had no possibilities of going far.
Right.
I've got a book at home where he's mentioned in,
Really?
you know, to do with mines. And he represented a young lad that got killed at Yorkshire Main. He represented the family
Right.
to get him some compensation.
Oh, I see.
And this is before the unions. It was 1916, before he went into army. He went in 17, I believe. But 1916, he represented this family and got him some
Because he was so
compensation.
obviously intelligent.
Yes.
So he was like a lawyer almost.
Well, he had a QC stop with him when in Second World War, I can't remember the QC's name now. He became a QC. At that time, the lad who stopped with him was a Bevan boy. And he went on to be a QC from down south. He lives from London. But yeah, I mean, his family were educated. His one became a headmaster. His other son ended up running a shop in London.
This is your grandfather?
Yeah.
So these are your uncles?
Yeah, two of my uncles. And
so did you know all these characters? I mean, did you go down to London
yes.
to see them?
No, I met my Uncle Jack when he came up 2 or 3 times. When he came to see Grandma, his mother.
Yeah.
Because by then, Granddad had died. Because according to form, they didn't get on. Because my Granddad was, according to form, like I've just said, crackers.
Oh, right.
Nasty with war.
Jesus Christ.
He became a fighter.
This is like a theme in your people you know.
Yeah.
He became a fighter?
Yes, he'd fight anybody.
Really?
Well, Di Owens used to fight in rings.
Really?
You know,
Around
when booths used to come around.
Booths?
Boxing booths, gypsies.
Okay, let's just explain that. So you get...
They'd come round with a fair, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You know what a fair is.
I know what a fair is.
Yeah. Well, they'd come round with fairs and they'd have a boxing booth. And there used to be 2 or 3 in them in village. Fight. Box, you know, anybody.
So they'd be really wanting to get into this booth,
Yeah.
which is basically a boxing ring.
Yeah, well, they'd get a
Go
couple
turn up on the village green.
get a quid for it or something, you know. You got a £5 if you won.
Gosh,
You know,
that sounds quite fun.
it is if you're not getting it.
So that would be quite a thing. I mean, that comes around and you think, Di is fighting, what's your granddad's name?
David Woodward.
David Woodward.
Yeah.
And would they like go, okay, I'm going to give you a
Yeah, they'd have a go at each other.
in the ring
Yeah,
and win a quid?
yeah. And then one year, boxing booth come with a kangaroo.
Oh my
A boxing
God,
kangaroo.
You are joking.
No. Well, have you ever seen a kangaroo when it goes like that with its paws?
Yeah.
Well, this kangaroo came, and a bloke called Jack Room, we used to live next door to him in Tate Avenue.
Jack
Room.
R-O-O-M.
R-O-O-M.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jack Room.
Anyway, we'll take this kangaroo on. Yeah. So Jack puts his hand up. Gets in ring. Well, Jack was an handyman at boxing. He had been what you'd say semi-pro.
Right.
So he gets in with this kangaroo. Everything's lovely. Kangaroo's going like that with its paws. And Jack thought, second round, I've worked it out. He hit this kangaroo. A real good smack on the nose, like, you know.
Yeah.
Kangaroo went back on its tail
Oh my God.
and hit it with its back legs.
Oh shit.
Straight out of the ring goes Jack.
No.
5 chairs back kind of thing.
No.
Out to world.
No.
And this is why they say we're characters. He woke up and he says, did I win? And his mate said, no, but there's nobody else getting in with kangaroo.
Flippin' heck.
He was a character.
God's sakes.
And he got hurt down the mines. He got buried,
Really? This is Jack Room.
yes. And he got buried and the handpick he was using went into his stomach. And it crippled him for life and his leg turned like that.
What, I mean, his foot went back to front, really?
Well, more sideways, but it turned his leg.
Yeah.
And then he, after many years, they decided at Donny Royal, we're going to straighten your leg. We'll break your leg, put it in a cast and straighten it.
Yeah.
Well, at this time, we still lived next door to him.
Mm.
So there was this, breaks his leg, sets it. After a week or so, Jack's wanting to go to working man's club. You know what it is, you want a pint.
Yeah.
I want to go to the club. So he says to his wife, Alice, get our so-and-so's bike out. She says, what do you want bike for, Jack? He says, I'm going to club. She says, well, what are you going to do when you get to club? How are you going to get home? He says, be buggered getting home. Just get me there. And he went down on little girl's push bike all the way to top club.
With his back to front foot?
Yeah, well, we cast on from
my God.
on wheel, you know.
Cycled down
Yeah, they carried him home. But he was a darling.
So this is all in the same house? You're in that house all this time?
Yes, in Tate Avenue, they live next door. And they always said if they could never find me, go next door to Jack Rooms, I'd be in bed with him.
Really?
Yeah.
Listening to him?
No, asleep with him.
Oh.
Because he'd have been to the club and come home and gone to sleep.
Really?
And I'd gone upstairs and got in with him.
God.
But they were good times. That's when we used to go out and play.
Yeah.
Play cricket and football.
In the street?
Yeah. Well, just off where we lived, there was circle of houses. So there was a field in the middle. So we used to go and play on there.
So the gypsies would come with the
Whitfair.
with a fare,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't know what would come. A kangaroo.
Kangaroo come this year. Every other year it'd been men, you know, boxing ring. There'd be one ex-professional kind
Right.
of thing.
And are these guys? I can imagine it. Everyone like sizes him up, looks at him. He's standing around
Yeah,
in the bar, I suppose. Comes to the pub,
yeah.
trying to work him out.
But, you know, they said anybody wanted to fight this kangaroo for £5. Oh, I'll take it on.
I just love the idea of these guys finding a kangaroo that can fight. You know,
Well, they don't fight, do they? They
just defend themselves.
They just go like that with the paws. If you
Yeah.
notice him, if you see it in wildlife programs,
Yeah.
they just shake the paws in front. But he hit it that hard, it went back on its back legs, on its tail, and kicked him.
God. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that.
And here's another one for you. When we were off work, because we were back before you got any social money, he went to, what did they used to call it when your local council gave you some money?
Benefits,
No,
dole,
no, before then.
social.
No.
What do you call it?
When what, Jerry?
When you used to go down and they give you some money,
Like in Amber?
relief,
Relief.
yeah. We went down bottom end of village to only school we had at that time for some relief because he'd been off work months with this accident he'd had. He gets there, sits in front of these two people, they ask you questions. They said, how many chairs you got? I've got 4. How many is it the family? He says 3. He says, well, sell a chair.
Really?
He says, how many plates you got? Half a dozen. Well, there's only 3 in the house, so 3 plates. And in the end, they awarded him £1/2.
God.
And Jack being Jack threw it back on the table and told him to keep it. He says, if your need's better than mine, here, keep the bugger.
Good God. God, it was hard, wasn't it?
It was hard. Well, they'd all left pit, well, he'd left pit before I started, Jack, because he was crippled.
I suppose you couldn't, you know, I mean, paying all that money out for ill people, basically. I mean, everyone's ill.
Yeah,
Basically, everyone's ill.
everybody's got something wrong with him.
Yeah. So you like riffing?
I liked all coalface work. I liked most mining work, except when I had my accident, I ended up on what they call light work. pressing a button 4 times a day.
Oh, right. How long were you working underground then?
Roughly 20 years.
Okay. So what dates are they?
1966 till it's closed. 1985
Oh,
I was
so
closed.
you didn't leave by choice, you just had to leave?
No, that were it. Well, mine's a funny tale, which we can go into if you want later.
I'm very happy for you to go into it now.
Well, after my accident, well, no, before my accident it was really, me and our union at the pit had a fallout. Our egress off the coal face, the way out, in case of a fire, took 1 hour and 3/4. Now, the mask they gave you to help you survive only was good for 1 hour.
Oh, right.
And they were putting what they call a cross gate in. And they kept taking the men off the job of putting this cross gate in. So I went in to see our union and said, look, it's not on. You're putting our lives at risk. And our union says, well, we can't do out because management picks where they put the men. I said, yes, but you're still putting our life at risk. So anyway, he says, I'll try and do something. I goes back down pit. About a week or 2 later, I found out that our union had been down to take the hauler chain off the face we used to go through, what was part of our way out, to put round the football field on welfare. So I went in. I'm a bit like my granddad. When my temper goes, it goes. Margaret will tell you. Anyway, I went in to see union, and the secretary was at Barnsley, and one of them come towards me, is there out weekend though? Because they're all sat there, all 12 of them. And I said, no. I said, you're all a set of, I won't say the word because there's ladies present, begins with W. And one of them got up and he says, you can't say that to me. I said, you take another step. And I said, and I'll put you on your back. Oh. And secretary come down the pit the following shift and he says to me, have we got a problem? And I said, no, let's me and you go into barrier gate and we'll discuss this. Oh, no, I've got to be out the pit. And off he shot. So after the strike, when it come towards everybody getting redundancy, I turns up for work this day and there's a note on my lamp. Will you please go and see personnel manager? I thought, what's this about? So I goes and sees Mr. Smith, and Mr. Frost was with him. He'd thumped our manager at one time, so they'd moved him further up tree. So I went to see Mr. Smith. Mr. Frost was sat there. And Mr. Smith says, I'm sorry to tell you this, I've got to sack you. I said, what for? He says, you haven't worked in last 12 months. I said, Mr. Smith, no bugger's worked in last 12 months, we've been on strike. He says, oh, I said, anyway, I says, have you looked at my record since I had my accident? He said, no, why? I said, go and get my time records. He come back with him. I had my accident in 1981, and he looked through my records. He says, you haven't worked 6 months in 4 years. I said, I'm buggered. I says, you've buggered me up. And he says, well, I don't know what I can do. He says, hold on. And by this time, Mr. Frost had walked out because he could see I was losing my temper. And Mr. Smith got on phone to Armthorpe Colliery, Markham. And he says, I said to him before that, I says, I was due to see pit doctor before strike started to try and get a better job than what I were on, you know. He says, well, yeah, I've no record of it. I said, there's a record in ambulance room. I says, I'll have a walk over. I walked over and saw her sister. I says, have you got my name in? Book to see doctor. She says, when for? I says, 1985, whatever month. She went through the book. She said, yeah, here it is. I said, right. I said, that's all I want to know. I said, I'll go back and see Mr. Smith. I went back to see him. I said to Mr. Smith, blah, 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 you know, it's in record. He says, I believe you. He says, I knew you weren't telling me lies. He says, but it's your peace of mind. He says, anyway, I've been on phone to Armthorpe. He says, can you get there for 5 o'clock tomorrow? I says, I'll go to hell so long as I can get something out of this. I says, I've worked here 20 years. Good, you know, because at one time I was a charge hand and what have you. I went to Armthorpe, I went in, I sat down. He didn't even ask me to get undressed or nothing. He looked at my record, what had happened to me. He says, you're retired. He says, I'm retiring you through ill health. I said, thank you. And I went back to pit. And just after, I saw Mr. Smith again, and I thanked him for what he'd done for me. And he says, I'll tell you now, he says, the man that put your name on that list was union man. He says, because he went to work in coal house, making every bugger redundant that he could for pay, you know, for government. I said, that's a good socialist for you. Look after me and bugger you.
Yeah. Jeez. God.
So I got finished through ill health.
What was it? I mean, you didn't tell me what your accident. You had your accident when you were young. In between the. What was the other?
My birthday.
Your birthday.
I got blown up in an explosion. Shot firing accident. Deputy was blowing coal out, and he's supposed to take you to a safe distance, and he didn't. And I'd walked past my friend was sat like you are, and I'd walked to about there, sat down. The explosion was that way, it missed him and hit me. Ruptured my spleen, damaged my spine, damaged my elbow.
Bloody hell.
You know.
Was it, I mean, was this explosion full of coal, in a sense? Was
Yeah.
It?
Yeah, I've got blue coal in my elbow more than anything because I was dressed, you know. I've been hit harder than the explosion, but it went inside and ruptured my spleen and damaged my spine. So, you know, I ended up, for my birthday, my 30th birthday, I got 16 days in Doncaster Royal Infirmary. And then since then I've been fighting DSS all my life, haven't I, love?
Yep.
Because they kept saying, you're fit, you're fit.
So you never worked again?
No. Well, there were no chance straight after pits closed because
Of course.
they didn't want anybody disabled.
Yeah.
They threw, you know, what were it, over 200,000 miners on dole in one go. Over a few months. And like I said, union were no good when I was fighting my case. He sent me to see a specialist, and he said, who do you want to see? Who do I know? He was a specialist surgeon.
Yeah.
So I said, I might as well see the man that did my operation, which I thought I was going to see, which was Mr. Majunda. And it turned out I didn't see him, I saw his boss, which cost me 200 quid, which were a lot then.
Yeah.
And I had to pay, union didn't pay,
Really?
I had to pay. And I saw him, and when I got my record, my sheet of him looking at me and doing everything, he found me fitter than before I'd had my accident. And when I pulled this up, Ferguson, who was the secretary, said, well, didn't you know he worked for NCB? I said, you're supposed to tell me these things. I said, all I know him as is a surgeon. I said, who do I know who he works for? So, as the saying goes, I got stuffed again.
Bloody hell.
And it's been like that all my life, I think.
So what actually physically What's wrong with you after the explosion?
Well, I can't lift anything above my arms. If I go to put a picture up, Margaret will tell you, I can't hold it. I'm buggered. I tried to go back on cold face with advice. I lasted, I think it was 3 days. Because first 2 days I was sat on the cold face, on chocks as they call them, supports, which you do very little.
Yeah.
And then on third shift they sent me on ripping again.
Good Lord.
And at one time I could pick a third of a ring up on my shoulders and walk 200 yards down to set it. There were two of us, we picked it up, I took 2 steps and I said to mate, I can't do it. Can't carry this. Put it down. And I put it down and I come out at pit. I went and saw him and says, I can't do it.
So, yeah, that's hard for you.
It was hard because I lost my health in one go. You know, I went from, like I've said to him, it was on night shift. I went tonight on work on Thursday night. I wasn't going to go because I'd put a rest day in for Friday, which was my birthday.
Oh God, yeah.
So I said, oh, I'll not bother going. I'll go and put a rest day for Thursday tomorrow, you know, Friday. Because Mr. Smith was always good with me. But I always went to work. I was taught that you go to work. It got to 9 o'clock, I said, oh, bugger it, I'm going to work. I went to work, a fit man, at 2 o'clock in the morning. I became an old man kind of thing, you know, physically.
So how was this for you? What was going on with you?
I didn't know him then.
Oh, really?
We're second marriage.
Oh, okay. So how did you meet?
Gingerbread. Have you ever heard of it?
Is this a charity?
No.
No, it's an organisation for one-parent families.
Oh, okay.
That's been left with the children.
Yeah.
Well, mine buggered off and left me with 4 girls.
Your first wife left you?
Yes.
Bloody hell, this is-
Yeah.
One of them 18-month-old.
Hang on, can we just get... So you've been exploded underground. You've
The
got
money,
ruptured
my
spleens.
money had stopped, my top money, because I worked every shift I could. Saturday, Sunday nights, double time, I worked. And I've always said to Margaret, I was a silly husband. I only used to take pocket money. And I used to give rest at wife to keep family. I took enough to go out to the club on a Sunday dinner, Friday night, and my bits and bobs. And I used to tip up to her. Once the money stopped, she had to get a job. So we started working in a pub behind a bar.
And as I say, the rest is history.
The rest is history. She got off with another man and left me with 4 kids.
Four little girls. I mean, can
No,
you
one was
weigh
eight-
that up? Because I can't.
One was 18-month-old.
The youngest, Kerry, yeah. I don't know what makes that woman tick. I mean, they're all grown up now, aren't they, love?
Yeah.
When I met Gerald, she would only be, what, 3 and a half?
Yeah.
Just started school at half a day.
I mean, luckily, my mum helped me and my dad. But at that time, my dad was poorly. You know, he was real poorly. My mum used to go and get him from school when I was working. Because I did try to go to work. But when you're in a job you hate, you don't want to go.
So you hated your job by then?
Yes. Well, like I say, I had all these skills. Belt maintenance, rope gang, other things. And they shoved me on a job where I'm basically sat for 7 1/4, we'll say 7 hours on my backside. And I pull a button out, beginning at shift, snap time I knock it in. After snap I pull it out, end at shift I knock it in. And that was my job. And I hated it with a passion. You know, I kept begging them to give me something to do. you know, I'd have been quite happy if they'd have said to me, at one time at Pitt, old miners that were injured, they never retired them, they found them jobs. And you'd go and clean what they call belt section out. That's where belt goes through its loop like that, and it drops a bit of muck. They'd send you cleaning it out. That'd be your job. You'd get a little mine car come along, and you'd spend a shift cleaning underneath, you know, pulling it out so you don't get hit, fill this mine car. If it wanted doing again next day, you'd carry on with that one. Next day you might go to another district and do another one, or one further in by, and you'd do that one. But you were continually moving and working, and you were happy. You'd go and have your 10 minutes sat with lad talking to him, because they were usually old men on belts at that time. So you'd go and talk to them and say, well, when I were a lad, you know, I mean, there was another character, Jack Johnson, they called him. I'm sat with him, he was a decent bloke, he'd been in guards in war, in tank regiment, and we sat there having a snap. This was when I was at belt gang. I gets my snap out, and he chewed tobacco. And I just happened to look at him and I says, and he's eating his snap, and I said, where's your tobacco, Jack? And he went, it was still in his mouth. I says, you're kidding me. I said, you are kidding me. And he went, no, and he put it back in and carried it. He used to swallow the juice, and it used to make you sick. You know, if you did it, it'd make you physically sick. And he used to swallow it. And, you know, and he was chewing his tobacco and chewing his snap at the same time. And I threw my snap on belt. And I says, Jack, you're not right. You know. You know, and you sat there with him. Lovely man, and that's what he used to do, clean belts out. But if they were short of a man to drive the belt, he'd go and do that for a shift. But he were happy, because he were in work.
Was he injured? Was he
Yes, he'd been injured in war, he had though. His tank had got blown up, which was a great thing, I suppose, if you're inside. And when he used to come out Pit, pub was straight across from Pit. Wherever there's a pit, there were a pub across from main yard, from gate, main gate.
Good
So
business.
when he used to go in, the barman used to have 3 pints on bar, and before he'd pulled the 4th one, he'd sup 3
Jesus. Every day?
every day. And that was without taking his backer out. He had his backer all the time in his mouth. And the only if he went to club at weekend, he'd got his backer in his mouth. And he'd chew crisps, peanuts, everything. You know. And the only time he ever took it out was when he put it in his pipe to smoke it.
Was he a big bloke?
Yeah, oh,
I bet he must be
he
massive.
was massive.
I mean, if he's having, what, 8 or 9 pints a night?
Yeah, he was massive. Because we used to joke about him, how the hell did he get in the tank? You know, we says all we could imagine with you, Jack, where your legs were inside, the rest of you were stuck outside. And he'd just laugh, you know.
Was he a married man?
Yes. I now know his granddaughter. That's her at Doctor's, love.
Which one?
Who Batty sees.
Oh, Marie.
Marie. That's his granddaughter. Because she didn't even know he'd been in army out. Because she was saying, I'd like to know about my granddad. I said, I used to know your granddad. So then I started telling her bits and bobs. She says, I can only remember him with tobacco, you know, chewing tobacco.
So, sorry to go back to this, but you got 4 kids.
I had 4, Margaret had 2.
So,
I've got 2.
so you moved into it with each other and 6 kids?
5.
Yeah,
we
but
ended
mine
up with.
are a little bit older than Jerry's eldest one,
So
weren't they?
where did you meet?
Gingerbread.
Gingerbread.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes. Was that a club?
Yes.
In the sense that
Yeah,
you had
used
even
to
social
meet-
evenings?
We used
Yes,
to meet up
everybody,
once a
everybody
week.
was divorced and got kiddies.
Yeah,
So
We were all in the same boat.
yeah.
I'd not been near a woman for 2 years, 3 years nearly, I think. And a mate of mine says, come on, they're coming down to gingerbread, you know. I'd heard about it and ummed and ahed and ummed and ahed. And I just called in one day when I was downtown. And they said, yeah, come back if you want. I met David and what was the one's name? Les. Met them too. They were in the same boat, so you could say what you feel, you know.
Yeah. So you had kind of counselling sessions, did you? Kind of
Well,
group,
that's
No,
what.
you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
counsel.
yeah,
the
Worry.
group get-togethers.
yeah. But you could
You
tell
could
them
share
your
your problems.
woes and
You could
whatever.
Well, yeah, you could slag your ex-partner off or whatever. You know, everybody were in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We'd all been dropped on from a great
We'd all
height,
been hurt.
and you know, everything. We met and it turned out fine, lovely.
How long ago was this?
32 years. Well, 33, 34, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what would I have been? 35 at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
4 minutes left.
How many?
40.
It was a 4. Jesus Christ, these probably stories are too good. I keep getting distracted.
No, the head's looking good.
Is it?
Yeah.
If he starts, I can tell you now. If he starts coming and interviewing you instead of me, it means I'm in trouble.
But I might not tell him out.
No, but that's the problem. Yeah, you have to pick up the pieces. He has to pick it all up.
That's it.
He's going out now, so it means we're okay.
Yeah.
I've got you on video and I'm watching.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
All right.
I don't know if they've still got a gingerbread now,
Not in Doncaster, they haven't, have they?
because where it used to be at
It's all gone
Waterdale,
down.
they got rid of it and built council offices and
But
that,
they
and
used
made
to-
it a car park.
They used to have an head office at London, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's a famous organisation.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, we got married and we finished up with 6 children between us,
Yeah.
and now we have got 10 grandchildren between us and 2 great-grandchildren.
Wow. So Christmas is just pretty active.
Well,
Expensive.
expensive.
Lots of homemade presents.
No. Margaret makes a lot of things from through,
Through the year, don't
yeah,
Yeah. Knitting.
Sewing.
stockings.
Sewing.
Sewing. I love sewing.
If you see some of the things she'd made,
Really?
because it's a craft like yours, similar. Well, similar because she does it with a machine like, but it's
But they
the
have to be
design
put
work.
together.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've got an uncle that's called Edwards.
Have you?
Yeah.
Not from Suffolk.
No.
I say.
From
That,
Edmonton.
that would have been weird.
I say,
Because my lot of farmers from Suffolk.
I mean, maybe his family did come from that way. I don't know, because I only knew him and his granddad.
Well, they're Welsh as well, aren't they? Obviously. Edwards
Well, yeah. But he served in Navy and then he wrote Russian convoys.
Really?
Yeah, he got sunk once. He survived. But he was at home with pneumonia and they come and picked him up to put him back on another ship to send out. Police and MPs turned up, even though doctor they got a note saying he'd got pneumonia.
There seems to be a lot of health injustice around you in your life.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that at that time. It was something I got told later on in life.
And then he met the light of his life, me.
I
yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah. You
That
can
is-
see every cloud.
That
Every
is
cloud.
true. That is true. I will say that. I always say to Margaret, I should have met her 20 years before.
Well, I have to say, I'm amazed that you're so cheerful and light of heart with the life you've had. But now I see the woman that's given you that light.
No,
as they
I've
say.
got an happy life.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a life that would get a lot of people down. Isn't it? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Oh, don't
yeah.
let it get me down.
I mean, geez.
And I'm
I
one
mean-
of these, I'll always fight for underdog if I can. You
And
know,
when I went home and I said to my mum, I'm getting married again. And she says, do you realise what you're taking on? I said, no. But the boat could have been on the other foot. I could have had 4 children.
Yeah.
but what made it even worse was, I'm a Protestant.
And
And
I'm a
you're-
Catholic.
Okay.
And
Lapse.
her dad was a staunch Catholic,
Right.
Who we were.
Okay.
and he never really took to me.
With 4 kids and a staunch Catholic, you were
Yeah.
right fun then.
Yeah. And my dad says, you what? I said, I'm getting married again. He said, you can't. What do you mean I can't? Well, you know, they don't believe in divorce, do they, Catholics?
No.
He even phoned father up in our village to go and see Margaret,
Yeah.
to put her off at job.
Really? So did you defy your father then, in that
Well,
sense,
we
or
were
did he come?
adults. I'd been married once.
Yeah, but did he come round, or did you just?
Oh yeah, he come to the wedding. I'm not saying he won. He was happy for me. It was only my stepdad, but I lost my dad when I was 9. He died. But,
It's just that he come
He
from a
thought the
family
world
that
of
was
us.
really staunch Catholic.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing would have altered the way he felt about his religion.
I mean, I think he'd 2 sisters, wasn't it, that were nuns.
No, he got. I don't know. I can't remember. Actually.
I think there were. They turned up at funeral.
I don't know.
But he was poorly then. He was a minor.
Yeah.
He was a minor.
You were
Yeah.
right, yeah.
There wasn't so you had. I mean, I've never asked this question before. Was it mainly Protestant or Catholic in the mining industry? Was it
Mixed.
mixed? It was a mix, complete
yeah.
mix. So it wasn't like a tribal thing in religious sense.
Oh, no. Everybody got on with everybody. When I was doing my coalface training, we had a Mormon,
And everybody stuck up for everybody, didn't they?
and he'd 3 wives.
Really?
Yes. And when we sat down for a snap at that time, he used to sit down and read the Bible.
Wow.
And as you go on, as you know, you get talking like we are. And he explained to us partly how their system works, that you marry the first wife because you can afford heir. And then you get the first wife working so you can afford the second wife.
Good God.
And then you get them both working to afford the third wife. No,
You wouldn't like
And-
3 like me, would you, love?
no love. And they were in Jamaica, his wives.
Really?
Yeah. And you know, he showed us Bible, and in the front of the Bible they'd got the rules written down.
Yeah.
And this is for the ladies that's here. If you misbehaved, he was allowed to beat the lady, his wife, but only on a Sunday, and his other wives had got to be present. You know,
Wow.
so look how lucky you are.
These lot won't stand for it. They'd
I
wang
mean,
'em
and
back.
he
God, no, no one should.
I say,
No.
and you're allowed to beat him with a piece of wood.
Oh, for God's sakes. The stuff
Yeah.
you're coming out with is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Really?
well,
You
that's
didn't
what we thought.
Yeah.
You didn't expect this morning, did you?
I certainly didn't. I've been.
I know
I
you
feel.
didn't. I
I've
bet
been
you
through
right
the.
enjoyed it.
I've been through the emotional mill, as they say.
Yeah, and
You've
it,
gone from kangaroos to
Yeah.
explosions to.
and it was the quietest person you could expect to meet.
Well, he had 4 wives. What do you expect?
Yeah,
He
you
didn't.
might have 10 now, because they were a lot younger than us.
Wow. God.
But yeah, you know, we had some fun. We had some heartache as well, but we had some fun. I mean, while I worked at Yorkshire Main, there were 6 killed.
Really?
I know to about 10 that were crippled, that were legs off, feet off, arms off. So it wasn't a safe industry.
No.
If we'd have had health and safety then, we'd never got across the pit yard.
No. No.
It was terrible that way.
Well, you suffered terribly, didn't you? Obviously.
Well, I had me bits and bobs. I mean, that's what you call an accident, what I had last one.
Yeah.
I mean, I broke my thumb, that's just a knock.
Yeah.
Split my hand, that was a knock. I cut my leg open once on a tin sheet, that's just a knock.
Yeah.
I mean, my leg, I had 30 odd stitches in. But it's just,
That's the way it
Just
goes.
a knock, innit?
yeah, just a knock. It didn't stop me going back on my own job.
Yeah.
It was the last one that did that. And then, like I say, then you find out in life you're only a number.
Yeah.
That's all I
When you work for a big place,
Yeah.
especially. I mean, like you were working in art,
Yeah.
you can pick and choose, say.
Well, it's you know, it's a tough business to get into.
Oh yes, I
So-
can see that, yes.
But like everything, if you can get a purchase in it, if you can get a start,
Yeah.
you can start to claw your way up the ladder.
Yeah.
It gets,
I
you know,
mean-
like everything, it gets a bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a young lad did a statue to commemorate our injured and that. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was only a young lad and he was just starting in your business.
Yeah.
The statue was nice, made out of resin,
Oh yeah.
and it's black, but mine are knelt down. And then there's a wall with plaques of all who worked at Yorkshire Main.
The what that worked?
All the miners that worked there at Yorkshire Main, a plaque with your name on.
All right. Gosh, that's a lot then.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I think Yorkshire Main, since it opened, there were 160 deaths.
How long was it open for?
1911 till 85.
God, it's more than 1 a year then.
Yeah. And one bloke I know, he had one son killed down Yorkshire Main, a deputy. His other son went to work in Canada as a deputy and he got killed down at mines. Can't believe it. That were two that got killed together, deputy and overman. They were told not to go onto coalface and they went on, ignored what miners told them and they got buried.
So were you buried in your explosion?
No,
Were you conscious?
yes. It happened at 2 o'clock, like I say. I carried on working for an hour,
Well, after?
yeah.
Really?
And then I just said to the deputy, I'm going out because, you know, my birthday. I says, now I'll take a young lad off at Ripping, who was a trainee, which was, luckily I did, because then I got onto the conveyor belt to ride out. We rode about 1/4 mile and I shouted at the young lad who were in front of me, I says, for Christ's sake, jump off, I can't get up. I couldn't stand up. He jumped off of the belt, stopped the belt, and as it happened, there were 4 men working further up and they come and got me off at conveyor belt, put me on a stretcher, straight out at pit. I managed to get undressed. I should have gone straight to first aid room, but I didn't. I got undressed, I went into the shower, and I was just sat on the floor. And a man called Ernie Shaw, a big strong man, come in. He saw me and he just picked me up bodily and took me straight to ambulance room. And then they sent me straight to Donny Royal. And I was laid there. And as it happened, a young lad in next bay to me, from Markham, Maine, he'd been buried. And he was covered in all little cuts. And there was a note on me. I looked perfect. Only my little cut on my elbow. So they treated him first, thinking he was worse than me. They sent for surgeon who come round. He said to me, pick your arms up. And I got my arms like that. And I says, I can't. I can't go any further. And he just said, you've ruptured your spleen. He says, I'll see you down below. Me thinking, Christ, I'm going back down pit. What he meant was down in theatre.
Really?
6 o'clock that afternoon, I was down in theatre for 12 hours. And my life buggered. Till I met you.
Yes, dear.
Did you ever go down again at all?
What, down pit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent another 4 years.
Oh right, so you didn't go off.
I was off for
Oh,
12.
you're doing the switches. You were doing the.
Yeah, I was off
You-
for 12 months in one go.
Right.
because I was that bad. I mean, I was as bad as my dad. I couldn't walk from here to the door at times. So when I started, like, they put me on light weight, pulling a switch. I was off and on, backwards and forwards to the hospital. And then, like I say, the closed pit. Because when pit went on, the national strike started, I was on the sick.
Right.
So I was going through the picket line first off, because everybody thought, oh, it's only going to be a few weeks. Putting what you called your sick note in.
Yeah.
Put my sick note in for a few weeks. And then the word had gone out from the government that anybody that was on the sick had to be thrown off. So I went to see my doctor and he threw me off.
Why was that?
He said I was fit.
Because they didn't want anybody else sick, did they? Love?
Didn't want to be paying us.
No.
So after the strike I changed my doctor. Because the doctor I'd got,
You didn't like him, did you, love?
nobody liked him. He was a psychiatrist by trade. And if you went in, he kept saying it's all in your head. Now we're complaining about my spine all the time, my back. It's all in your head, all in your head. He wouldn't send you to hospital or nothing. So after the strike, I changed my doctor. The first thing my doctor did was send me to hospital. They x-rayed me. Yes, you've damaged your spine. That's all I want to know, blah, 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 you know. But the same doctor with my dad on 100% pneumonicosis wouldn't give him oxygen.
Good God.
Till my dad went into hospital one day and the doctor came round. He says, I'm sending you home this afternoon, Mr. Gooch. You've got oxygen and everything at home, haven't you? And he says, no, I haven't. Why haven't you got oxygen, Mr. Gooch? He says, because the doctor won't give it me. He says, oh, right. He says, you just wait. He went to the telephone, and my dad says I could hear him because the telephone was just down thing. He says, he went on telephone, he says, and I heard him giving him a...
Really?
He says, he come back in, he says, you'll have oxygen by the time you get home. And he had.
Wow. God.
And I won't tell you what my dad used to call him when he come in.
Oh no, don't swear here, love.
If my mum ever had to send for him, when my dad were really poorly, he used to shout, get that black bee out. Get him out of our house, you know. But after that, he was ever so nice.
Yeah.
But they're a queer bloke. I think he hated being a doctor, which you can't understand.
No.
But we think he hated white people because he married a white woman. That's the only thing we can put it down to. Because they were funny. When I was a kiddie, every doctor, there were 2 Poles and an Irishman. Wojciechowski, Emil, and O.A. Now give you a guess which one and what Irishman.
So what are your daughters doing now?
They're all married. Well, apart from one, but she's living with somebody. We've been
Yeah.
together a long time.
They just didn't decide to get married, did they?
Nicola and David now,
No.
they're happy as they are.
And they've all got kids.
Yes, we are.
Are they all
proud.
local?
No, Julie lives down south.
She lives at Braintree.
Oh, where your family come from? Where your...
Yes, she went back down there. But she's trying to come back up here now.
She wants to be near us, isn't she?
Yeah. Well, it's like my uncle said. He moved, I'm trying to think, next to Stansted Airport, Bishop Stortford. He lived on the end of a cul-de-sac. You might think this is racist, but it's not. And he said, a Pakistani family moved into the top of the quadrangle. We hadn't seen him for 10 years or so, and by the time we went to see him again, every family was a Pakistani, one but him. And he says, I'm not moving because I was born here. You know. He says, this is what his daughter's trying to say, everything's altered that much. And they're not communities like they used to be. Even the mining communities are not. It's all altered. I mean, we had a place where they built a housing estate for the Scots when they come down in '64. And we called it Jock Estate. Every pit round here had one. Now we call it Little Poland. You know.
Do you
It's
think
all
there's still
altered.
communities? Do you think there's still communities though?
Not like they used to be. I think this is where everything seems to have gone wrong in this country. The communities seem to have diversed, and the kids have got out of control, a lot of them. You know.
Because really, you're talking about all this. You're talking about your whole life story is about movement, really, isn't it? About people
Yeah.
moving from place to place.
Well, that's what made this country want it.
But I suppose, in a sense, they were coming for jobs. They were
Yeah,
coming to.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, first off, like you say, my family came from Suffolk. They moved to London, a lot of them. I know there's a family down there, still, you know, as far as I've traced, Gooch is down there. I mean, we once wrote to Graham Gooch, the cricketer, and the reply was, how much are you giving me to me fund?
Oh, right.
Because my dad always said it could have been one of the, you know, granddad's or his dad's relations. You know, somewhere along the tree, you never know. So we just thought we'd try. That's before family trees came out, doing your family tree, so we thought, we'll just write and ask. And we got the letter back, didn't we? How much are you going to give me for me
Well, it was Julie that wrote it,
retirement
wasn't it?
fund? And I said, bugger all, could you give me a note? Only enjoyment when I watched him bat.
Hey, Gooch is a Suffolk name.
Yes. Well, that's what we were saying up here. There were two families around this area that we knew. You know, two separate families, not related. Then when we look down south, there's hundreds,
Yeah.
you know.
How often do you come up here then?
Come once a month. Usually the last. This is what we're in Christmas time, so it's not the last week, but usually come around the last week
Yeah,
and do a week of 3 days of this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm away 3 nights,
yeah.
2 days of work.
2 days of work and one of pleasure.
On a driving.
Well, that's it, pleasure.
Yeah.
Going down there. Which way?
It's
do you,
all pleasure.
which way do you go?
A1 down to Huntingdon,
Yeah.
Cambridge, and then across the A14 down through to Bury St Edmunds.
Yeah, ain't it quicker to go through Chelmsford way?
A12?
Yeah.
No. I do it out of London, but not that way.
Thought we were about an hour shorter.
I'd have to get London A12, M25, wouldn't I? I never thought about it, to be honest.
I don't think you do touch M25.
What, is
No
it like
way
going
you-
down to Julie's?
Yeah,
where
can
she
you remember
used to
when
live?
we went from Chelmsford with Julie to Lowestoft and that? We went up for a day. Can you remember?
Yeah.
And we went from Chelmsford. We didn't go on M25.
No, I don't think we did. I don't like M25.
No.
No. My auntie once got stuck on it. She was petrified, and she lives there.
Yeah.
And she phoned my Uncle Eric up and he said, don't worry, and he phoned police. So police car come and dropped in front of her because she panicked that
broken
much.
down?
No, she
No,
panicked
no,
that
she
much,
just
she just stopped the car.
Oh my God.
She was terrified. And she'd been driving years, but it just terrified her, the M25. So
And policeman said to
policeman
her,
pulled up in front of her.
and he says, when I move, Mrs. Gooch, you follow. She said, what about the rest of the traffic? He says, when I move, you
Good.
follow, they'll stop.
He says, they'll stop.
Oh right, yeah.
Minutes left.
Thank you. So we get the beauty spots in.
That's me. One big beauty spot.
A bonny bugger.
Aren't you, love?
That's me as well. I always tell people there's no you can call me that ain't been called before.
A right bonny bugger.
When I went
That's it.
charge and I got called more things, checker.
I bet these young ones think we're touched.
Not at all.
This is how bad it was. When I went checker, I used to follow behind cutting machine.
Checker. Let's just go back to the beginning. What's a checker?
That's like a charge hand.
They
What's
have
it-
a,
I was in charge of 32 men.
Okay.
I used to deploy where they worked.
Checker. Right. Okay.
So we had 21 on coal face and 11 spare. Anyway, I used to follow the cutting machine as it cut coal. So I used to get soaking wet through.
Oh right. Because the water sprays on the
Yeah,
cutting machine.
well, you got paid what they called water money if you worked in water for above an hour. So this day, manager stopped to water money. So I went in to see him, asked him why he'd stopped it. He says, you don't get wet. I said, oh, fair enough. So I went back to my locker, got my wet clothes out, soaking wet these are, went over to his office and threw them on the desk. And he says, what are you doing? I says, you stopped me money. I says, you'll need them, not me. He says, why? I says, because I'm not doing job again. Do you know how much we got paid water money? 10 pence. 10 pence a day.
Gosh. They stopped you.
You got paid 20 pence for carrying the powder down for explosives. And I can take you somewhere where we buried £30 of it. Because we thought we were going back on job next day and they moved us.
So there's still £30 of explosives buried underground.
Yeah, but as it happens, it disintegrates. It goes away. But what we were thinking, three mates, £30 of powder. This is when IRA were going. Wonder how much we could make at Irish Club. Just laughing and joking, you know. Now, a day after they took us off at job and sent us somewhere else. Should we tell them? Because if we'd have told them, we'd have got into trouble. You know, that's the fun of it.
What, leave the explosives underground for the next shift?
No. I mean, you did things you're not supposed to do.
Don't we always?
we've all done things we're not supposed to do, haven't we?
Yeah.
Done a lot you are supposed to do though, and you leave a lot of goodwill, eh?
Yes,
Do you have are you community minded?
yes.
You do a lot for the community.
Help out. I mean, there's one instance where our deputy lost his detonators for explosives. Like I've said, there's 21 of us working on coalface. 19 left him.
Tell me what.
2 of us stopped
Tell me where it's more.
to help him. We stopped 2 hours, we found them, because if you lose your detonators, pit closes. It's shut off. Same as if you lose a bag of powder by rights, it was supposed to, everything stops till it's found. Anyway, we found it, his detonators. He thanked us. We got 2 hours overtime. What's 2 hours overtime? Yeah. But it was goodwill, a friend. You've helped a friend. He didn't get into trouble. Anyway, a few months later, I'm driving a diesel, which I'm not supposed to drive because I ain't got the papers. I can drive them, but I ain't got the papers. I ain't been passed out. It got off the road. Anyway, I goes in, tells deputy, blah, blah, blah. Got diesel off road, no problems, he says. Next thing I know, he told him he drove it. To say me again, that's friendship.
Camaraderie down the
Yeah.
pit was something which come through every single person that's
Yeah.
sat here and have their heads molded.
Yeah, there isn't one that says,
But every time I see him, I go up to him and I shake his hand and we have a word and what have you. You know, only thing we ever took my cart and him was he supported Scotland in rugby. And the joke was every time he used to go and watch him in Scotland, his car broke down. And we used to say to him, don't you see, it's telling you something. But he did have a bad life. He was in a colliery up Scotland that got flooded. And he was down pit for about a week, flooded. And we said to him, I'd never go down another one in my life. And he just said, nah lad, you know, it's a job, it happened. Yes, ugly.
it's beautiful.
Isn't it, love?
No. You're not Brad Pitt like, but hey ho.
Who is Brad Pitt?
I don't think that were in Yorkshire, that pit.
No,
That's quite funny for him.
no, it'd be in Lancashire. I mean, I found something out recently. They were still using naked flames in Lancashire in their pits in the 60s. You know, where we were headlamps and oil lamps, they were using candles kind of thing, naked lamps. So there's kind of been gassy pits.
No.
I mean, well, we had one district, they called it Sleepy Valley. And
Sleepy Valley.
yeah, you could chew the gas. You can taste it, chew it.
So what did you do when you used to get to a part of the pit where you can literally taste the gas in your mouth?
Carry
So
on
heavy.
working. Just work with it. You just got an headache.
Really?
Yeah.
What, and you weren't afraid that anything could spark or?
No, you'd ask deputy to test. I
And
mean,
what would that involve?
oil lamp, you make your wick to a small, like, bluish flame. And then if it went so far up, it'd tell you, say, so much percent. If it went a bit further, you're safe. But if you got just a little, you withdraw the men.
Right.
Because we had one young deputy, he'd only just passed out. And me and mates working in Barrier Gate, Sleepy Valley, and you could chew it, like I say. So we got this young deputy, bit of fun. He said, come and test for gas. And we knew it really high. So he comes in, gets his lamp, you know, I'm a new deputy, blah, blah, blah. Gets it going, puts it to the thing, well, flame went from bottom to top and put it out. Before his lamp had hit floor, he'd gone.
Where was Sleepy Valley then? Which pit was Sleepy Valley in?
Yorkshire Main.
I might need to be written down.
Yeah, can you write it please? I've got my hands are full.
Well, they once had a blowback because the management, in their wisdom, this was a job the old men, the old colliers used to do. They used to go and bore for the gas. Couple it up to a pipe. They used to send it out pit and send it to Markham, where they used to take the smell out and what have you, and sell it to British Gas. They took these old men off. In his wisdom, he decided he didn't want this team of old men. There were only 3 of them. It blew back that far. It was 100 yards from the pit bottom. Where it blew back from was 1.5 miles away. It nearly closed Yorkshire Main. They were talking about sealing Yorkshire Main off. There's a pit, you know, just, that's it, it's done with.
Yeah.
And that was because of one man deciding he didn't want to employ 3 old men. could hear a nutcase, that manager. You're an alcoholic.
Really?
Because there was one man threw himself down shaft, stepped off the
What,
cage
just the
and went down. And when the manager turned up to go down the pit, which he has to by law, he was that drunk, he wasn't allowed down. Yes, this man had killed a kiddie in a car accident. And the family had got onto him that much. He just decided he'd had enough, and he rode the pit on his own, which is against the law. And he lifted the safety barrier and stepped out when it got to pit top. So with 960 yards to fall.
God.
And then he hit a grating at the bottom to go through to Old Bottom. And then the management, we were on following shift, come into canteen and asked for volunteers to go and collect the body. And my dad had once done it, and you scrape him into bags, buckets, note.
So
And I said to an old man who was going to go down, I said, sit down, John, sit down. You don't want to be going and doing that.
did anyone do it?
Oh yeah, management, because men refused to do it. Because they'd had an argument with management a fortnight before. Management said it was their pit. So if it's your pit, you go and do the shit work. Yes, as I was saying about Sleepy Valley, we just told lad over here, it blew back to the pit bottom, 1.5 miles. They were talking about closing Yorkshire Main and sealing it off completely, because they took 3 men off a job that they used to do for boring for gas.
Couple of minutes, Laurence.
Okay.
And my nose is like that because I got thumped
Thumped.
down pit.
By the wife.
No, would I?
No, because I can run quicker.
More than my life's worth.
No, we had an argument down pit, and that's where you settled it sometimes.
So were you a bit of a fighter like your dad?
No. Only when my temper's up.
Oh, yeah.
Then I'd
That's
kill
a
you.
sight to behold, let me tell you.
Then I could kill you and not bat an eyelid, but after I'd be sorry.
No, great. That's great to know. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm sorry, sunshine. Didn't really hurt, did it?
He's not kidding, he will.
Oh, when my temper goes, it goes.
And how often is that?
Not very often
thank
now.
goodness.
A lot less now.
Yeah, he's matured a bit of it years.
When 1926 strike were on, I've told you about my granddad Woodward and Di Owens. They went over to Cadeby Colliery at Conisborough. They wouldn't go on strike in 26. And my granddad and Di and a few others were stood on the bridge because you had to cross over at Don to get to Cadeby. And anybody that turned up, they threw into Don. They were nice people. And that's where the comradeship comes from, because, or did. They put the knockers on it, didn't they, when Nottingham didn't come out on strike. Well, that's politics.
Yeah. There's plenty of that around at the moment.
Oh,
no,
we
more
love
about
Brexit.
Brexit.
Oh, we put it on a special every morning.
I'm sick of hearing about it.
You might be voting again now.
Oh, nobody yet has told us the truth. Nobody has told us anything. We're reliant on 650 in Parliament and 500 dead people in House of Lords, aren't we? To decide what we're going to do. And I mean, our generation, what did us, is the amount of people that came in one go. Not who they are or what they are, it was the amount. It frightened a lot of old people.
Will you stop saying we're old, because we're not?
Well, the older people.
I don't like that word.
You're not old.
I'm not, love.
I'm only 22.
Yeah, I can see that. Can you see that?
Beautiful.
22-year-old here.
We're at 11 o'clock now.
11. What time are we supposed to finish?
11.
10 o'clock.
Well, I'll have to leave you here then. Thank you very
Our
much.
little granddaughter keeps saying, Grandma, stop saying you're old. You're not old. I said, I'm not, love. No.
Is there any other words that that have come up in conversation that you wanted noting down?
I think we're good, really, aren't we?
I don't know.
I think
There was one earlier, but
we had
What about
charge
the pit,
hands
down
and
pit?
checkers,
What did he ask?
checkers and charge hands.
Well, we were always called checkers because we used to check how far they'd advanced. And before that, when they used to measure up, you had to measure up in yardage. So you've got 10 yards by that and you're advancing a yard forward. And it's, say, 8 foot wide. You've got to work that out, how much coal you've moved, or stone. Yeah.
How big were the seams that you were using?
I worked in one 2'6", first in. Then one about 6 foot, and last them 5 foot, and they called it swallowwood. And we hit swallowwood, and when we got to a certain part, there's a fault in it. It was supposed to be 30 yards wide. We'd gone into it 100 yards, and there was no chance of it finishing. Now we were getting what they call a strip of coal, is 1 length of coal, is 1 strip. We were getting 2 a week. The rest of the time we were spending timbering up with wood. So they named it right, swallow wood, because it swallowed more wood than it gave coal.
Oh, very good.
And when they came from area, the surveyors and that, they said, well, in one pit, I think it was Broadsworth, it was 30 yard wide. At Maltby, it was 30 yard wide. We'd gone 100 yard into it, so I said, we must have hit a lake in the middle. And we'd gone 100 yards and there was no sign of it ending. And I closed that district. No matter
So
what.
there's no coal in there, we're just wasting time.
Yeah. And we'd had 1 man killed and loads crippled on it. So
Just such unsafe ground that you're
yeah. So I went into union, which I loved, didn't I?
No.
Oh, yeah.
And I went into union and I says, we refuse to work it. And they closed it. And
So
they
you-
came from
in.
area.
You've been a checker,
Yeah.
you're in charge of the men that are on your face.
The deputy's in charge properly.
Yeah.
He's for safety.
So you go to your deputy and you say.
I
"This
ask
is
him what
unsafe."
jobs to do. Normally it's same job. If there's any extra jobs, I'll go and say, what do you want? How many men? He'll say, I want 2 for this, 1 for that, 3 for that. So I'll have me 21 men on the coal face, and I'll say to others, you're doing so and so, you 2 doing that, you go and do other. And the first thing they say, what we getting paid?
Did the
Well-
rate used to change then?
It could do. When I had my accident, I went from a good wage to a poor wage. I went from earning, say, roughly 150 quid a week down to 60.
Gosh.
And of course, my wife had left me, so I was taxed as a single man. Didn't matter I had 4 kids, I was taxed as a single man. So this is how this system works. If I went on to sick, I got paid 70 and my tax back. So there was no reason for me to go to work. I'll be honest that way. The government were paying me more to stop at home,
Yeah.
but I loved being on coalface,
Yeah, but you
Oh.
couldn't go to work, could you? Because you were poorly.
or even contracting when I was contracting with them. Yeah, I loved that work. You talk to most miners, they love the job.
But his ex-wife left him, and she left him with 4 children, but she took the family allowance book.
And when I went to DSS about it, she says, well, her name's on book. I said, my name's on book. And I says, and I've got the children through court. And he says, you what? I says, I've got the children through court to this woman, but her name's on book. And my brother was with me, and he sat behind. And this was one at times I did lose my temper. And she says to me, don't raise your voice to me. So I leant forward and I said, Mrs, you haven't heard me raise my voice yet. And security man come to the door, and I knew him. And I said, you might as well pittle off. I said, because that's as much good as a chocolate fire guard. And he walked back into the back room. And she'd gone.
Right on, Sean, 5 past.
Okay.
I said, yeah.
Well, you were so interesting, you stayed a little longer.
Oh, lovely.
There you go.
Yes, I want one.
Well, you're going to have one. You get a plaster version of that.
No.